Hello, everyone. It is Monday night when I'm doing this, and I'm really hoping I can get this done so I can get it um, out for viewing by tomorrow night. I'm finally finishing the one painting I did a couple weeks ago. Finished one last week, but here is the other one. The one that I did with the last time. I have to say that was more of a celebration of practicing some techniques. That painting is not staying in my world. I learned a lot from it. Like, you don't want one part really textured and another part to go on it that can't be textured. Um, Also, I was trying to duplicate a picture, and um, it was one of those, it was just really hard, especially when I was having to go back and forth. And it was something that, yeah, I love the picture. It would have been great to duplicate it, and I may try it again another time with another type of painting. But, sometimes um, things just don't go like you want, which we talk about a lot. So, anyway, I learned a lot from it. It started out looking kind of cool, but as it dried, it did not dry well. So I may try something with that again, but I've learned a little what I'm going to need to do different and stuff that I'm going to use, techniques I'm going to use on some other paintings. And I've got a really great idea for one because I want to make a painting that I'm going to hang over my bed in my bedroom. And yes, the treaties needs to say hello again tonight. And here we are. So what I am going to do, and it's kind of one of those things I also, divine inspiration, want to talk kind of about contrast. So this painting is going to end up being kind of a thing between contrast, because right now, as you see, have like flowers over here, and I will be highlighting those, just putting some white lining around them to make them pop a little more. So I'm kind of wanting to do kind of a contrast between one having something really floral, and this one's going to be inspired by my sister Cindy, who just got back from a cruise in Europe, and pictures of some of the brick buildings that have flowers coming off of flower boxes and ledges. It's just super cool. And so I'm hoping to kind of catch that essence in this. So what I'm going to do, because I haven't done anything with this because I just couldn't decide what to do, but what I want to do is try and create back here like a brick wall, and that's going to be kind of a nice contrast between the two things. And hopefully, if it turns out like I want, then I'm going to either paint like a butterfly or a small bird or something. So it's going to look like, hopefully it'll go like this, and like the flowers are coming down over a brick wall with a bird flying into it. So we will see. So I kind of looked at some different walls, pictures of brick walls, and we're going to kind of go with that. And like I said, I learned from some techniques with the other one, and I'm hoping what I can do is very similar to what I did to make the ground on another one. So I've got a variety of colors of paints, some lighter, some dark, and I'm going to spot them all around. And actually with this orange, I'm using, of course, the Liquitex paint, acrylic paint, and I'm mixing medium because I'm out of Floetrol, which is what I usually mix my paints with. That's what's in the browns here. But I ran out of that, but I have bought a big bottle of glue once before, and glue can, you thin it out with water, and then from what they say, it can help keep the shine in the paint. So again, I'm going to be having different kinds of paints mixed all slightly differently. And yeah, I'm using 2 different colors of brown and our Liquitex and Artist Loft Silver Pre-Mix and a little touch of black to give it some contrast. So we're going to mix some brown through here. And yeah, there seemed to be a whole lot going on this weekend because I wanted to finish another painting and thought I had some ideas on what I was going to do for this. And I know there's something you can buy that you can paint over, you know, paint you already have that you don't want messed up. So that when I start messing with this, it doesn't get over onto my flowers. And I didn't buy it. And I'm really anxious to get this done. And I am praying over this painting that it will do what I'm hoping. And like I said, it's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was not only contrast of having, well, I guess kind of like 2 different styles of painting, something that is soft and then something that's going to be hard, like flowers and bricks. Just finished up a Max Lucado Bible study with my singles group at church. And yeah, let's get some silver, a little bright, because bricks have a variety of colors through them, and since there's like divots and everything. But anyway, in this study, oh, this black is going to kill me. So let me go. Actually, I think we're going to go just without the black, and then I may add it at a later time. Fight with it to get it open. Oh, wait. I think I do have some other black. In this Bible study in Romans, it talked about the law, that when the Israelites were first started in Exodus, Moses was given the law and all the things that they had to do. And basically all these laws, if we look at it now, they're pretty darn rigid. Okay, I need my balloon again. But God gave these laws, but he also said, okay, so, you know, if anybody breaks them, you have to sacrifice. If you know, accidentally did something, you offer a sacrifice. And that covers it, you know, and it was all kind of getting ready for when Jesus would be sacrificed and be the ultimate sacrifice. But now it's in the New Testament because Paul's talking, and he's telling them that, you know, they're no longer under the law, and they've got to be really careful about judging. And then it's like, okay, well, now that we're no longer under the law, was the law really any good? And Paul said he was very thankful for the law because without it, he never would have really learned what sin was. And if you don't know what sin is, you're going to keep doing stuff. And God didn't make all these laws because he just wanted to mess with us. He made a lot of the laws for cleanliness, for health, so that they would last and be strong. And so it's kind of like thinking of contrast. For one thing, once you realize what all's sinful, because it's not because God just thought, well, I'm going to call this sin, I'm going to call this sin. It's because he knew what would be best for us, and he kind of laid it all out. But if you're living under the law, it's kind of like you're trying to earn your right to go to heaven. And we can't do that. And so the law is gone, but by contrast, by being able to get away from that, we can enjoy our relationship when we don't earn our right. We're given grace. I don't know about you, but I've messed up plenty in my life. And kind of like the fact that Jesus dying for us gave us an out. Okay. So we've got our basic brick. It's all kind of nice and textured. And I'm almost kind of wondering after this dries if I'm not going to re-pour these flowers, because just like the other one, I'm doing some of it backwards. But I think if I get this in a really cool contrast, I think I'm gonna like it. I wanted to try and do it where I wasn't going to have to redo the flowers, but I think I'm gonna have to. But you know what? That's okay, because I think it'll still give it a pretty cool effect. So I'm gonna have to paint in the bricks. Well, I mean, paint in the lines, but I do want to see if I can't. Let me see if I can get you closer here, so you can see what's going on. Alrighty, I think we got it. And this is just going to be kind of where my bricks are going to be. And then with each of these that I'm making these lines, once this all dries, I'm going to paint in the shadow black that's going to show you where the bricks, or what each individual brick is. And then I can decide what I want to do with that. I don't think I'm going to be taking any jobs from any masons anytime soon. I think I'm going to like, oh shoot, did not want to do that. There, fixed it. Alrighty. Oh gee. Okay, so here's what it's gonna start. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop this for now and wait till it dries. Actually, and or maybe back tonight or tomorrow before I get it all put up. But anyway, I'll talk to you more later. If you have any thoughts, let me know. Okay, the phone's camera is being a little glitchy, so hopefully this will stick around long enough for me to do this part. I'm going to add just a little bit more pink and a little more white. I'd rather have too much than too little because I can do something else with the rest of this paint. So here we are. We are going to add our flowers to our brick wall. A little Italian look here is what I'm going for. If it turns out I've got, I mean, this is going to be an easier one than the other one I tried to do. Alrighty. Which means I think I can get what's in the vision I have going on in my head for this. Let me hit it with some heat to get the bubbles out. Okay, and I think the easiest way to get the paint spread out is going to be to roll it with the balloon. And then I'm going to pop it some to make our flowers. And you always, I will be going back and painting the sides, because with your paintings you definitely want a finished look, and having the sides all painted up is how we get a good finished look. Okay. This one I was getting ready to put mine in a flea market. I had a couple paintings I was about to put in it that I didn't finish up the sides. I was looking at it, it's like, oh, that does not look finished at all. So let me, I spent the night before painting edges on some of these paintings, so I'm going to drip this off, spread it out this way a little more. And I think based on what I'm seeing here, I think this is going to be a good contrast. I hope. One way or another, I will make this work. Just because it may end up not being exactly what I pictured, but I think I'm going to be kind of close. All right, now, these are going to be, those were quick little pops to get the bricks. To get the flowers, it's going to be bigger. They're not going to be overlapping like I did to get the brick look. And to get the definition for the flowers, I have, one thing I have learned is you have to go in, and again, that contrast, you got shade, you gotta make where the shade is. So you can see where the edges are. And again, it's one of those things about contrast. I was out, woke up early one morning, couldn't get to sleep. It was a Saturday morning, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a drive and get pictures of the sunrise. So I just kept driving east and looked for some open road where I could watch the sunrise. And unfortunately, there wasn't a cloud in the sky that morning, which one would think would make it a little more glorious. And it was not so glorious. I'm just saying. So it occurred to me that sometimes you really know what you got. And embrace life. You sometimes have to see it against when things don't work out, you know? Alrighty. I think we're done for now. And I'll catch it up once we're ready to get to the next part, and this is dry. I'll catch you a little later. Thanks. Okay, here we are to do the finishing touches on the painting that I started. Be a couple days ago that I started it, but for you it should just be a couple seconds, but this is it. And got add some shadow, some shading in here between the bricks, and also some shading where the flowers meet the brick. So let's get this turned down. And okay, so we know that in all these crevices it's going to be darker. So it's going to start right here. And since the light source is coming from here, we know that immediately to that side it's going to be darker because it's deeper. And as my daughter always tells me, don't be afraid of the black. Use the black. Because it gives it depth. And it's something that I've known since my first art classes in high school to do. But I don't think I ever got quite as deep until my daughter kept chastising me. And she knows what she's talking about. She actually got an award at an art contest at the Houston. Second place. So that's exciting. But kind of started telling you about how I woke up real early one Saturday morning, couldn't get back to sleep. So I'm like, well, let me drive east so I can watch the sunrise, and there were no clouds. And so yeah, basic bright sunrise. Oops. But it's kind of like, okay, yeah, sun came up. Then it occurred to me that because there were no clouds, the sun had nothing to reflect off of. And so it's like, it just, there weren't that many colors. It wasn't, just one big bright sky, but nothing spectacular. And it came to me that, we live in an imperfect world. And I'm not one that, I've heard that, just remember that in order for Satan to cause any problem in our lives, he has to get permission from God to do it. And I know somebody who's taking great comfort in that. My mom and I decided we did not take great comfort in that thought, because why would he go ahead and say, sure, let this person have a tough time of it? But, even very righteous people, missionaries who, have tough times. But one thing about it is I think it lines us up to be in a better position for something else. Kind of like in football, when a team decides whether to accept or reject a penalty. But in those times, because like I said, we are in a fallen world. Stuff goes wrong all the time. I work in a hospital and stuff goes wrong all the time. For our patients, sometimes for us, machines break down. People can't show where they're supposed to. People get mad. It's a high stress kind of situation. But just when I'm like, I don't know if I can come back tomorrow, God shows up for me, and it's all the brighter for that. But anyway, so embrace the shadows in your art. And I remember I went to a workshop and she said, you know what, you got to embrace the dysfunction. And I have found that it usually makes life a little better when you do just embrace the dysfunction. So anyway, my thoughts, I'd be interested in yours. I know probably several of you have had some really crappy times. I know a bunch of people who have been getting has somebody in their family is affected by cancer. And yeah, that super stinks, doesn't it? But we can't let the dark win, and that's what we'll show here in a minute. Okay, also with these flowers, to make them less flat, I'm gonna get another brush here. And I'll let you see how I add kind of to the middle of some of these flowers a little darker. Goes down deep in the middle. Doesn't need to be a lot, but just some to go, yeah, it's being shadowed down in there. Everything goes up above it just a little bit. All right. Also, we'll be doing some outlining around where I think each flower ends. Okay, I've done a lot of shading with the flowers. Now it is time to start putting some highlights in there. So what we do is, because we already had the dark, but the light's coming in this way, that means these bricks are going to be a little lighter on the top and off to the side, because this is where the sun's catching. Oh wait, actually, I did that backwards. I think I'm having to think through, yeah, maybe here. Sun's coming this way, it means up here. Doesn't need to be that light, just enough to go, yeah. It's all about where your light source is. And also just because, be careful that, you know, because the flowers are going to be creating some shade. So we don't want to get too crazy up here, which I seem to have done. Need paper towels. Anyway, I'll go ahead and do this and we'll be back. All right, here I am just adding some leafy stuff in here, because the picture I'm going from has some leafy stuff. I'm trying to make sure it's not super uniform, because leaves don't grow like that. Just enough So it's like, looks fairly authentic. And I'll let you see the finished product. All right, final product. Hope you like it. I'm going with Italy, but I think this is probably, I'm thinking English Country Garden against the wall. But anyway, not too bad. Tell me what you think. And yeah, give a shout out. Let me know where you're from and hit like, subscribe. And if you like this, and hopefully you can share it and we can do some more. All right, thanks. Bye. Okay, here we are to do the finishing touches on the painting that I started. A couple days ago that I started it, but for you it should just be a couple seconds, but this is it. And got to add some shadow, some shading in here between the bricks, and also some shading where the flowers meet the brick. So let's